Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Power of the Tribe. Welcome home to 20. Our next guest, she's a keynote speaker, an award-winning author, an exceptional life expert. As a keynote speaker, she's committed to transforming achievement from good to great by teaching people to rewrite their excuses into successful accomplishments. Her prolific writing includes books as the author of, and the newest, Be the Exception, Your 7 Steps to Transformation, The Pineapple Principle, which is just such an amazing book, Paths, Detours, and Possibilities, and Be the Exception, the 3-book bundle, which is the only way to really enjoy that. I am very excited to introduce Annie Meehan. Annie, welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here, Maureen. Thanks so much for reaching out and inviting me to inspire your group.
Good. Yeah, it was, as I was saying earlier, that I'm looking forward to continue connecting throughout the 2020 and the new decade. We're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
So Annie, the summit is all about inspirational leaders and sharing their secret to living life to the fullest with connection and zest. So what is your secret to living life to the fullest and embracing and just connecting?
Thank you. First of all, I don't think it's a secret because I am an open book. If I can help someone, I want to help them. And one of my first easy things that I think about every day, and Maureen, you and I have talked about this, is I love to wear color. I love my sparkly necklace. I love bright orange and coral. I invite people to live in color because there's something about putting a little bit of color on that brings a smile to my face. So that's kind of the first thing. In the morning, I try to think about that. But after that, one of my kind of signature sayings that I really, especially when people are feeling stuck or struggling or going through a transition, is live by choice, not by chance or by circumstance. And I think there's a lonely people out there. I love all the C's. So it's like, you've got to live by choice. So take that risk and go and connect with somebody. Go meet somebody new. Say hello to someone. You might be their only hello all day, and they might need it as much as you need it. So I love to teach people, rather than looking at circumstances or chances that happen as, oh, maybe that just happened. Be curious about it. Wonder what the story is behind it and how you can benefit the most out of the story. So by making a new friend, like you and I, just meeting, and now we have a new friendship. How wonderful is that? I love that your series is called Coming Home. I think a lot of people feel unsettled and restless. And I think home, in a beautiful, perfect world, which we don't live in, but we can help create, is about comfort. And comfort's about community and about connections and about confidence that's gained through believing in yourself and showing others how to believe in themselves, whatever that is.
I couldn't agree with you more. Again, the whole about connecting and being not only more joyful and enjoying life, but being better together is just, it's a gift. And yes, I fully agree with you. So tell us a little bit about this journey that you've been on. And how did it come about? Was there's like a pivotal point where someone either made a mistake or something significant happened, and then they had this opening? Tell us a little bit of how you became able to be that inspirational leader.
I love that. Something you said before that I want to kind of circle back to, because I think it's really important to me, and I love to teach other people that are new at starting a business, is 5 years ago in my home, every month for 5 years now, I've created a mastermind, and it's all professional speakers. So we're in the same industry. And initially people are like, oh, I'm not going to come. We're each other's competition. I'm not going to tell you the truth about, and I'm like, come on, it's not competition. We're collaboration. I love what you said, better together. So we have met. I started with 2 other people. Today, there's 16 of us in the group. We've not missed a month in 5 years. 16 of us, men and women, that come together. We leave our egos at the door. We open our books. We talk about our successes and our struggles and our no's. And often, multiple people in this room are going for the exact same conference. And we know one of us is going to get it and one of us isn't, or 2 of us aren't, but it's okay, because collaboration, community, collaborate, don't compete. There's enough for everybody. So I wanted to say that first. My speaking business really started in the faith community. I worked with junior high and senior high kids, and people would say to me, you're like really good. You're funny and you're smart and we like how you teach. So I went to women's ministry and then women's retreats. But then for 12 years, I owned gyms, and I love to encourage people. The reason I said yes to owning a gym was I love to help people, and I love to help people set goals and then support them in achieving them. And one day I was in the gym and a woman came in to interview me for a TV commercial, and she said, I get that you love Snap Fitness and you like helping people get healthy and you like Advocare and you like supplements, but who is Annie Meehan really? And at that point, which was about 7 years ago now, I said, oh my gosh, that's easy. I'm a female version of Tony Robbins. And she was like, really? Where do you speak? And then I go, well, nowhere really. Okay, occasionally at a church, but nowhere. Have you ever been paid? No. And then she told me about NSA. And I met a man named Mark. And NSA stands for National Speakers Association. I always tell people, if you want to be a better speaker and be more confident, go to Toastmasters. But if you want to learn the business of speaking and how to grow a speaking business, go to the National Speakers Association chapter in your state. And so I remember going to my first meeting and I was like, oh my gosh, these are my people. Like, this is what I do. Like, this is who I'm meant to be. And really, I've worked very, very hard, but my career has really grown and taken off. And when Mark told me to come to an NSA meeting, then he said, go through the academy, he said, write a book. And I just started doing what people told me. And I don't know that I felt qualified. I tell people I'm not an expert at anything, but I'm super passionate about helping people eliminate their excuses to show their exception, they're extraordinary, they're exceptional. And my belief in myself and my ability and the feedback I receive from my audiences has just been fuel that has kept me going and growing and being able to impact more and more lives.
I love that, and I love how you started with children and adolescents, and so you're able to, your message and just your passion is able to resonate on the gamut of people, and that's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah. One of my speaker friends, a lot of people say, find your topic, find your audience. So I was asking one of my mentor speaker friends, and she came and heard me speak, and I said, who's my audience? And she said, you know, Annie, you're really blessed because your audience is people. She said, it's not just financial advisors. It's not just healthcare. It's not just social services or youth or faith or corporate. It is people need to hear that they can be the exception. They don't have to keep repeating things that don't serve them. They can break free and become who they're meant to be.
And what a gift is that? And then you see their eyes light up and their lives change.
So rewarding. So rewarding. Not only seeing it, but hearing it and getting to hear feedback immediately after I speak is great. But what's really rewarding to me, and another speaker friend and I that are so passionate about this, we talk about our standing ovation is the emails and the letters and the referrals we get after we speak. And weeks and months and years later where people go, I can't stop thinking about what you said. I've made these changes in my life. You inspired and encouraged me. And because of that, this is what I have done to become who I want to be, not who I was. I love that. Super.
That's wonderful. So one of the things that does, besides your awesomeness, you are really funny. How when did you know you were funny, and how where does it come from?
I believe that humor is like the greatest medicine. I think it's the best thing in the world. In fact, unfortunately, later today, I have a girlfriend coming over and she's walking through her third bout of cancer, full mastectomy at 30, full hysterectomy at 40, and she's 50 now, and she has stomach, kidney, and liver cancer. And she called and told me, I was like, are you kidding me? This is nothing. Do you remember the men we handled in our 20s? And we laughed and we laughed. And she said to me, oh my gosh, I needed you. She said, I called my dad and told him, and he said, what kind of music do you want at your funeral? And she's coming over tonight and we're going to laugh some more. And we talked about that. What I learned, I think laughter and humor is a survival mechanism. And I had a really hard upbringing. So I had to learn to look at things and say, okay, to other people, this seems tragic, but there's got to be humor here. Find the silver lining, find the humor. And so I know how to laugh at myself. I mostly laugh at myself. I talk about all the trainers I've hired and how many have fired me and how I'm the worst client, even though I own gyms. And I think that laughter heals. And I think laughter, and she asked me, will you tell the rest of our friends? Because as she said, everybody else gasps when I tell them, and I hope you live. And she said, but you don't. You just turn it into humor. And she's like, it's not that you don't care, and I know that. It's that you know that I've already got all these fears inside myself. I already have this hopelessness because I'm walking through something heavy. But when I'm around you, we laugh and we go to movies that make us giggle and we realize that we can't always control the circumstance, right? Maureen, we're going to walk through things in life that we cannot control, from death to diagnosis to divorce to getting fired. Life happens. Things happen with our kids that we are never prepared for, our families. But if we keep a sense of humor through it, and if we decide to live by choice, not by circumstance, so her circumstance isn't good, but she chooses every day to get up and go to work, to keep a positive attitude, to give back. She was making Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner for her family, and she's so sick. But she's like, that's what I want to do. And I think that I love to inspire people. You still have a choice. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you get to choose how you respond. And if you're able to laugh, to look for the good, to make fun of yourself, and I teach people how to take goofy selfies and how to get as many chins in there as they can, because I want people to remember we're all messy. And if we project onto social media some of our real parts and our messy parts, it allows us to be vulnerable and authentic so that someone else who's really struggling behind a secret wall can feel safe with us. I was talking to a client this morning and she said, I never let anybody know when I have a bad day, but you just go through life, Annie, and you say, oh, it's a bad day, but here's what's good, or here's what, yeah, I think it's a choice. And I don't know, I found humor in being the middle of 7 kids and being hungry and eating out of dumpsters, and people would be like, that's tragic. And I'm like, yeah, but if you reframe it, I found 300 angel food cakes. Who else? You know what I mean? Like, it could have been devil's food, but it was angel food, right? I mean, there's humor in the tragedy if we're open to it.
So, let me ask you that then. So, because the part of it and the way that many women have lost their tribes is some kind of life tragedy. Could be death, it could be divorce, it could be loss of a job and moving and I don't want and motherhood. I don't want to say motherhood's the tragic part, but it's a thing that puts us away from others. If you were to talk to someone that is really lonely and just their circumstances are they don't have anyone around them, and to shift from that circumstances to possibility, where would you tell them to start?
It's a great question. I think that I've gone through lots of different shifts in my tribe. I love the word tribe. When I was a volunteer at the schools, I had a big tribe. And then my kids grew up, and now I'm empty nester, and the kids aren't all coming in and out. And when I buy groceries, they go stale before someone eats them. And so what I would people, right, is it's hard. It's risky to put yourself out there. But part of me keeping that women's group, and there's a lot of different things that interest me. I have a lot of interest, but could be in a women's Bible study. It could be signing up for a meetup. There's so many meetups out there, whether it's playing cribbage or a baking class or getting on a bowling league. And partially it's putting yourself out there and starting over, because I think you're right, is that our tribes change sometimes by a death or divorce, but also change at different seasons in our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I turned 50 and I'm an empty nester, and I have friends that still have little kids and their whole life still consumed by sports. And I'm like, okay, I've got a lot of open space here. What do I do with it so I don't feel lonely? Can I join a new book club? In my neighborhood, and this was such a powerful thing, Maureen, and I didn't know the loneliness back then. It's been 8 years now. I decided, I invited 2 other women to do it with me, to create a flyer and to create a bunco group in our neighborhood. And bunco is just a dice game. You don't need a lot of thinking, mostly a gathering of community, of tribe, right? So I created that 8 years ago with 2 other women. We made 69 flyers, and we invited 69 households in our neighborhood to my house. 20 women showed up, and it's been going for 8 years, once a month. And what's so cool is that some women had lived in this neighborhood over 20 years, had never met each other. People were having babies. People's family members were dying. All of a sudden, we started cooking for each other. We started cooking community and progressive dinners. So it takes one person, and it might be whoever's listening, to take that risk and say, I'll create a book club. I'll create a bunco group. I'll create a Bible study. I'll create a card night and invite other couples or other single people to create, because I think there's a lot of lonely people. And there's people that had high school friends and they all moved away, and then college friends, and then they were single and they went out, and then they were married and they went out, but then they had kids, and then the kids grew up. And all of these different stages, I think we're all in a chapter of our life. And I was super involved in a Bible study for years. And when my dad died, these women, for whatever reason, did not understand that death. And I had no relationship with my dad, and none of them showed up. And it was literally heartbreaking for me, Maureen. 13 women, nobody sent a card or a flower, and I was devastated. Now, a couple people showed up in different ways, but I was shocked. And But one of my girlfriends teaches me this, Maureen, and this is a message I want to tell your audiences. It was devastating at the time, but had I stayed with that group, with that circle, I would never be doing what I do with who I do it with and making the enormous impact that I get to make today. So sometimes those chapters end and it's super painful, but without it, it's kind of like a push. Go meet someone new. Go expand your circle. Go be part of Marine's community and come home to a whole bunch of people that are ready for a new chapter. Does that make sense? So sometimes it's painful, but for me, I find that then there's like this reward. Like I became this woman who started writing books and speaking all over the world. And that group was like, we don't want divorced people in here. We don't want single moms in here. And I was like, come on, that isn't even biblical, let alone, I don't want to be part of a closed-minded group. I want to grow to something incredible and impact everyone's life. Does that make sense?
No, I love it. And the whole journey that will start after the summit is taking steps and about how to begin that journey and looking fabulous doing it and having fun all along the way and making friends here in the tribe too. So I'm all with that. And I'm sorry about your dad and what to those women. That's all I've got to say.
But I think, Maureen, it's an important lesson too, because there's going to be people that tune in here who feel abandoned because they went through a transition, because they got divorced, because they moved, because they changed jobs, and nobody else showed up. I want to tell you, guess what? There's something better waiting for you. Don't let that circumstance define what comes next. Instead, say, I wonder who I haven't met yet. I wonder who I could make as a new friend. Because I think that those can shut us down and make us isolate because people hurt us. But if we stay open through your team and your group, you're going to find new friends. You're going to find a new community, a new tribe, and maybe, just maybe, an even better tribe, right?
I love that. And the whole thing of like being in the present and being open, that's all about that shift. So that's great.
Yeah.
So, okay, Annie, we are in a new year and a new decade. What's in store for 2020?
For me, for my business?
Yes. Yeah.
Everything. I don't know.
Ooh.
So I actually was just looking, of course, I have 14 huge goals created for this year because that's the person that I am. I'm not recommending that to anyone else. My mastermind's like, could you pick 3? I'm like, I don't know. I may or may not write another book this year. It's not necessarily on the agenda. I do have 5 books, but I am starting a talk show. So it's going to be about exceptional impact. Yeah. And so I'm going to invite people just like you to come and be live in my studio, and hopefully the first week of February, maybe the middle of February, the first episode will come out. But I'm just going to invite people that are difference makers in the world to come and inspire. I'm doing more national and international speaking, so I love that. I get to travel around. Just keep inspiring. Like sometimes people say, you have too many goals or you're too driven. No, Darren Hardy's one of my mentors, and he said this morning, if people tell you you're a weirdo because you're too driven, you're in the right tribe. He said, because all of us here, we get done with one goal and we go, what's next? What else can I do? And so I just, I want to speak at the $1 Million Roundtable. That's one of mine, which is financial and insurance people that are in making those millions. And then there's an organization called WFF. It's Women's Food Forum. And it's really women who are executives and leaders in the food world, from restaurants to food manufacturing. And my dream for this year is to speak at that conference, because I know I have a message that I can pour into some incredible women and keep them pouring into the people that they have the privilege of impacting. And my big hope, I'm a woman of great faith, and I trust that God always has good plans for me. And this Saturday, Oprah Winfrey is coming to Minneapolis. And many of my friends are going and have asked me, am I going or not? I haven't bought a ticket yet. But when I was 18 years old, Oprah Winfrey was the first female to pour into me, to look at me and say I could become anything. And first of all, I didn't believe it. And second of all, it was so powerful to receive it. And it took me till about 21, actually, that I could really hear her words. But I look back on that. I spent an hour on her show, and then I spent an hour with her after the show with myself and 2 other girls. And I have been praying and hoping that, I don't know how, and it may not happen, but I just believe that this weekend somehow is going to be a moment that I get to cross her path and just say thank you. It's not about being on TV with her. It's not about, I just want to tell her, because I heard her speak at a conference and she said, I didn't start being intentional about impacting women's lives until 1996. Well, it was 1986 that I met her. And it was immensely powerful in who I became and who I am today because of her words. Because I didn't grow up with parents that could say that to me. And she told me my past doesn't have to define my future. And so I spend my days and my lives reminding people, your past doesn't define your future. Your detours don't have to derail you. Become who you're meant to be, which is more than you can even imagine or dream. So that's a big hope.
Oh, Annie, I'm sending that, and I know I'm a little bit. Yes. Okay. We're willing. We're going. We're in the possibility. Anything is possible.
That's
So
right.
good. Okay. So I'm going to take you on that the show that you want to do. So the big piece of the Power of the Tribe Welcome Home 220. So I'm taking my women on a year-long journey of self-discovery, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And we use the analogy of the home, because the home is friendship, and friendship is not a small component in your life. It envelops you. It's like each room of your home makes up the different pieces of friendship. We break bread in the kitchen. We do makeovers in our bedrooms. We have movie nights in the living room, and we work out in the garage. So with that being said, I'm going to get to have the pleasure of having people come back and visit and share a virtual evening with us. Can we do that together?
Yes, let's do it. Absolutely. Would love that.
All right, good. No, we will get this planned, because I can't wait. We're going to have so much fun. Oh,
fantastic.
Yay.
I love your home visual. It's immensely powerful, Maureen. It's about everything you said, and it's also that love and community and safety. Homes should feel safe. They don't always, but they should. And homes should feel like a place we can be authentic, and we can be vulnerable, and we can be who we are without judgment. We can put our hair up and wear our sweats, and we're loved anyway, right? Coming home to being who we truly are with our messy parts and being authentically loved. And we can be beautiful there and play dress up. I always tell my daughter, who's 25, the best part of going out with your girlfriends is not the actual night out. It's the getting ready, listening to music, putting on your makeup and your hair together, and doing all of that fun stuff, trying on 20 outfits, right? So I love it.
Absolutely. And sharing.
Yes.
I'm so thrilled that you came on today. I'll be seeing you soon enough, and we'll get those dates. And yes, Annie's going to come back and play in the house. And so again, Annie, your new book's out. Can you just point behind you?
The pineapple, the Be the Exception and the Pineapple Principle. Yes, I got the Be the Exception, which is the 7 steps to transformation. The intro may make you cry, but the ending will leave you inspired and high and feeling good and unstoppable. And then the Pineapple Principle. Let's all look like and be like pineapples in 2020. We're going to have an exceptional year ahead, and you are going to be part of that exception. I can't wait to meet you.
And the whole pineapple, there's a whole movement now. Yes. And it's just so fabulous. So keep up the amazing work. You are a truly amazing, inspirational leader. I just want to say thank you for coming on to the Power of the Tribe.
Thank you so much for having me, Maureen, and just wishing you all the best with your tribe and with your life in 2020 and beyond.